Hello, this is Jayshree. Welcome back to the Pharma Intellect YouTube channel, your go-to place for all things related to pharmacy and pharmaceutical science. This is part 2 of our General Pharmacology series. In part 1, we discussed the introduction to pharmacology. If you haven't watched that video yet, please go and check it out. In today's video, we are going to explore sources of drugs, means where drugs originates from, and sources of drug information, means how to find authentic and updated details about marketed as well as drugs under clinical trials. So, let's get started. Do you know from where your painkiller tablet, cough syrup or even that life-saving antibiotic or vaccine comes from? Many medicine have amazing origin stories. Some originates from nature, some from labs and some from blend of both. So, let's explore sources of drugs. Where do medicines come from? As we know that drugs are chemical substances used to prevent, diagnose, treat or cure the diseases, originates or comes from different sources. So, these sources can be broadly categorized as first, natural sources. Nature has been our oldest and best pharmacist. These sources utilize naturally occurring substances extracted or purified from living organisms or minerals. These include plants, animals, minerals, microorganisms and humans. Second, synthetic sources. Many modern drugs are made completely in the lab from the chemicals called as synthetic drugs. They are offering advantages over the natural sources such as precise control over purity, consistent quality and scalability. Synthetic sources includes chemical synthesis and other techniques such as cell cultures, recombinant DNA technology and hybridoma technique. These are advanced biotechnological methods trending nowadays. So, let's go into deep. Natural sources. In that, plants. Many drugs are obtained from plants or plant extract. These are rich source of medicinal compounds. These have been used for centuries in traditional medicine. Many modern drugs are derived from or inspired by plant-based compounds, also called as phytochemicals. Examples: atropine, an anticholinergic alkaloid derived from plants like Atropa belladonna. Common name is deadly nightshade, used to treat certain types of poison. Second example, quinine. It is anti-malarial alkaloid obtained from bark of cinchona tree, useful in treatment of malaria. B. Animals. Some drugs come from natural secretions or tissues. Example, insulin. So, insulin was originally extracted from pancreas of pig and cattle before synthetic methods took over. Nowadays, produced via recombinant DNA technology in lab. Second example is adrenaline, also called as epinephrine. It is neurotransmitter responsible for fight or flight response, originally extracted from adrenal glands, but now synthesized in lab. Third, heparin. It is anticoagulant extracted from animal tissues like pig intestines, cattle lungs, but nowadays also produced synthetically. Next up, C. Minerals. Even minerals can become medicines. These are inorganic substances from the earth, have also found therapeutic applications. Example, magnesium sulfate, also called as Epsom salt, used as a laxative, means help in relieving the constipation. Second example, aluminum hydroxide, used as antacid to neutralize stomach acid. Third, iron salts, to treat the deficiency of iron. Fourth, sulfur, used in various topical treatment externally, especially on the skin. Next up, D. Microorganisms. Yes, tiny creatures like fungi and bacteria also help and act as a drug. Bacteria and fungi are sources of several crucial antibiotics. Example, penicillin. It is beta-lactam antibiotic produced by Penicillium fungi. Second, cephalosporin. It is also beta-lactam antibiotic produced by Cephalosporium fungi. Next, humans. So, certain human-derived substances have therapeutic applications. Example, immunoglobulins. These are antibodies obtained from human blood plasma used to provide passive immunity. Second, growth hormones. So these are the hormones regulating growth and development, originally extracted from human pituitary glands, now produced via recombinant DNA technology in lab. Next, coming to synthetic sources, A. Chemical synthesis. This is the lab method where drugs are made by combining different chemicals through step-by-step reactions. Example, paracetamol. It is also called as the acetaminophen, prepared by the acetylation of para-aminophenol. Second, aspirin, prepared by esterification reaction. Aspirin was the first fully synthetic drug made commercially in 1899. B. Others, which includes recombinant DNA technology. This is biotechnological method where scientists combine DNA from two different sources to make a drug-producing organisms, usually bacteria and yeast. Example, human insulin. Second, growth hormones. Third, hepatitis B vaccine. We should be thankful to the recombinant DNA technology because diabetic now no longer need insulin from pigs or cattle. Scientists caused human-like insulin from the E. coli bacteria. Second, hybridoma technology. This is used to synthesize monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are special proteins that target diseases like guided missiles. Example, adalimumab and monoclonal antibody. Brand name is Humira, useful in treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, and manufacturer of Humira is AbbVie. Second example, trastuzumab. Herceptin is the brand name, manufacturer is Genentech and useful in the treatment of breast cancer. These hybridomas are like immortal or everlasting antibody factories. Once made, they can produce antibodies forever in the lab. Next, cell cultures. This involves growing human or animal cells in lab under controlled condition to produce complex biological drugs. Example, vaccines like COVID-19 vaccine, interferons, useful in the viral infection treatment, polio vaccine produced by the cell culture, saving the millions of lives. So far, we saw the sources of drugs, meaning from where we get or extract the drugs like plants, animals or synthetic methods. Now, let's talk about the sources of drug information. Suppose you want to know about a particular drug that is available in market, like its uses, dosage form, category. Where will you search? Have you ever wondered where doctors and pharmacists get accurate and authentic information about medicine? Is it just from Google or textbook? So let's understand which are the most reliable sources of drug information. We can find information of drug in drug compendia. Now, what exactly drug compendia are? Let's understand. So think drug compendia as a special rule book for medicines. It tells us what drug is, how pure it should be, how to test it, and how to store it. Pharma companies, chemists, and government drug regulators all follow these rule books to make sure medicines are safe and effective. Scientifically saying, drug compendia are compilations of information on drugs in the form of monographs. Now this pharmaceutical monograph includes the drug's chemical properties, identity tests, purity tests, and assay methods. This is the monograph of paracetamol taken from the European Pharmacopoeia. So, in this monograph, you can find the information about paracetamol starting from its chemical structure to its assay method and identification test. So, these drug compendia are of two types, official compendia and non-official compendia. So, let's see one by one in detail. A. Official compendia. These are compulsory. These are legally recognized by drug regulatory authorities in a particular country. Example, Pharmacopoeias and Formularies. These official compendia are brought out by the government in a country and hold a legal status. So, let's explore in detail. Pharmacopoeias. Example, United States Pharmacopoeia USP used in USA, British Pharmacopoeia BP used in UK, European Pharmacopoeia EP used in Europe, and Indian Pharmacopoeia IP used in India. So, Pharmacopoeia basically contain a description of chemical structure, physical and chemical characteristics, solubility, identification test, assay methods, standards of purity, storage conditions, dosage forms of officially approved drugs in a country. Pharmacopoeias are useful to drug manufacturers and drug regulatory authorities, but not for the doctors. So, if a drug is listed in United States Pharmacopoeia USP, it must meet the standards mentioned in the USP if you want to sell that drug in the US market. Let's say another example. You are making a paracetamol tablet in India. So you must follow the IP standards. If it says tablet should contain the 500 mg plus minus 5% of API, so it must fall within that range, otherwise it is not acceptable. So in conclusion, if a company wants to manufacture or sell a medicine, it must follow rules in the pharmacopoeias. So this is how the front page of pharmacopoeias looks like. Indian Pharmacopoeia, USP, British Pharmacopoeia, and etc. This is very important table which includes the Indian Pharmacopoeia editions along with their published year. So remember, the first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia published in 1955 and the latest, which is 8th edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia published in 2022. Next, formularies. So example are National Formulary of India, British National Formulary. So these are generally produced in easily carried booklets. It contains indications, dose, dosage forms, contraindications, precautions, adverse effect, and storage of selected drugs that are available for medicinal use in a country. So basically, formularies help doctors to choose safe, effective, cost efficient and right medicine for the right patient. So this is how National Formulary of India 2021 looks like. So in conclusion, Pharmacopoeia is like recipe book or the rule book for making the medicines used by the manufacturer. We can call it as a quality control manual which focus mostly on identity, purity and packaging of the drug. On the other hand, formularies are more like guidebook for how to serve or use that recipe in daily life used by doctors, pharmacists and hospitals. More focus on the dose, uses, combinations and description tips. Second, non-official compendia. These are not legally enforced but highly valuable for research, education, clinical practices and scientific updates. These are published by professional bodies. These are supplementary and dependable sources of information of drugs. Non-official compendia are nice to know. These are useful but not legally required. Example, Martindale, Physician's Desk Reference means PDR, and some medical journals. So let's explore one by one. First, Martindale. It is the complete reference book, also called as the Extra Pharmacopoeias or the Global Drug Encyclopedia. It is an international reference book that provides complete and unbiased information about drugs used worldwide. It is published every 2 to 3 years by the Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain. It includes the drugs from the different countries. For example, if you want to know how paracetamol is called as acetaminophen in USA and Calpol in India, you can find it in Martindale. In simple words, Martindale help you to understand global drug usage and compare the medicine between the countries. So, this is how the 36th edition of Martindale looks like. Next, Physician's Text Reference. It is a compilation of FDA approved drug labels. It is written for healthcare professionals, especially for the doctors. It gives exact prescribing information that doctor needs straight from the manufacturer. We can say that it is a doctor's drug dictionary directly from the pharmaceutical companies. So, this is how Physician's Desk Reference looks like. Third, medical journals, usually for latest research and updates. So, journals publish latest information about clinical trials, drug studies, scientific discoveries, etc. Example, The Lancet, one of the good journal. Second, NEJM means New England Journal of Medicine. Third, JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, and Indian Journal of Pharmacology, etc. So journals are like news channels for the pharma world, always updating us about the new drugs. So this is how journals looks like. So whether you are pharmacy students, doctor, or just someone wants to understand medicines better, remember that trusted and reliable drug information comes from trusted sources like Pharmacopoeias, then Formularies or PDR or journals. Important. So, no guessing game, just safety and science. So, that's it for today. Now, let's check your understanding of the topic through one quick question. So, the question is, the first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia IP published in, options are A. 1955, B. 1960, C. 1966 and D. 1975. So as I mentioned before, the first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia published in 1955. So the answer is A. 1955. So this is one of the important table according to the exam point of view. So remember it. Thank you. Stay tuned for the part 3.